Hello and welcome. I hope you guys are having a good day. This is BestroChen, and we are here with another Redstone tutorials episode. Basically, what we have here is our key. I have added 2 more blocks to our key. So we've got the exception affected and exception affected repeater only. Basically, this is the same as affected. Basically, what is affecting these different blocks, so like these blocks affect that torch because they put power into the block the torch is on top of. So basically, exception affected it is a exception in that it's only powered in certain ways. So when this powers that, these exception blocks are powered around it, but the blocks themselves aren't powered like the affected block. The effect block is. Yeah, effect block. Yep. And then exception affected is the same thing, only it's only with these repeaters that it only goes from the 2 sides, and we'll go over that in a bit. But first, I'd like to come over here, show you guys how to make some of these things. In the last episode, we did redstone torches, which is made with a stick and redstone. Redstone is found in any overworld, somewhere around, like, I think 20 or 30 blocks up from bedrock, which is quite a long ways below sea level. And then we have the redstone repeater, which is 2 of those. Redstone in the middle. And then simply put your smooth stone on the bottom. Smooth stone is basically cobble smelted in a furnace with coal. Coal is also found underground, but you can find it at almost any level except for in the sky. But even then, you could probably find it in large mountains and such. Then for a redstone block, you just fill the entire crafting table with redstone, makes that. Then redstone lamp is made in this cross-shaped pattern, basically glowstone in the middle. Glowstone's found in the nether. You get glowstone dust and put them in a group of 4, so 4 of these, and it makes 1 glowstone. Put that in the middle, put redstone in this cross shape, and you get redstone lamps. So the ones we are going over today is repeaters, redstone blocks, and redstone lamps. So let's get to this. Basically, just like over here, we have our on positions, our on positions and our off positions. Again, went over this the entire last episode. Everything works from on and off. If you're not getting it now, I'm not sure it's possible you can get it. So, we'll carry on. Basically, repeaters work in 4 different stages. Default, which is 1 tick, 1 second, 0.1 second. Basically, there's 4 stages to repeaters, which makes them very confusing. You can use them as timers, basically. You can time it to 1, you can time it to 2, you can time it to 3, you can time it to 4, and basically just do that by placing it down. It's default set on 1, and to change it, you just right click to 2, to 3, and 4, click it 1 more time, goes back to default. Pretty simple. To power it, you just see this arrow right here. You go to the opposite way the arrow is facing, and it sends power to that block. Pretty simple. It's 1 directional. It doesn't work by sides or anything like that, so you can power that. Nothing will be affected on the side. And same thing with it on. And this works in 0.1 seconds, so 0.1 seconds, 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds, 0.4 seconds. I have the same thing over here. Might be able to see it because there's more light over here. And then also redstone, when, oops, get that back. Redstone when powered only powers a certain length, and this is where repeaters really come in handy. They extend that signal, but a torch can too, but it's a little bit harder to make it work because it reverses the pulse. It turns an off to an on or an on to an off. Like if you want to make a signal continue and stay the same with torches, basically you'd have to go like that, have the torch like that, and do that, so you have this on signal, but that turns that off, so you then need to reverse it again to continue the same signal. So you put another one down, blah, there you go. And that now gives you an on signal, which is the same signal you start with. So it's usually better to go with a repeater, because with a repeater, and I'll show this in a sec, with a repeater, all you do is send a signal to the repeater, and it'll extend exactly 15 blocks, and it'll power the block in front of it. And because this is an exception affected block, it's on when this block is directly powered. Now, effects blocks, and we went over that last episode, that these blocks, they are directly powered, and when they are directly powered, it makes these exception effect blocks, which is basically it turns that effects block into a redstone block, which powers things from all sides. And you see that here. It's affecting all the blocks around it. So it basically turns this into that, only you can't do it from the direction it's getting powered because it's always on there, obviously. But pretty much what that means is you want to watch what you put around it, because you could be accidentally powering something you don't want to power. But next in the repeater list, besides it extending this long, and you can even check this to make sure that it does not extend more than that. Like you can see, that's still having that particle effect. This is not. And it does not power those because it's gone too far, but will power right there because it is going into that block. But the power only goes to 15. So you gotta remember that. It's a little fancy detail on it. Alright, next. We have this, and it's a new update to the repeaters. Basically, it's kind of like a gate system. It puts this gate in the middle of the repeater, so power will or will not change in the repeater if you have this gate powered by a side, and that's where these exception affected block repeater only blocks come in. Basically, if you power repeater from the side, and only these two sides where the arrows, you see how the arrows there, you can only do it on both ends of it. Like side ends, not front back ends. But basically, you have power going to it sideways, and it has to be power from another repeater directly, because you can put this here, have power next to it, and it's not going to do anything. It has to be another repeater giving direct power. And I do not believe it works if you have a redstone torch. Yeah, it doesn't work. Blah. But pretty much what this means is if you put power into here, you can send a signal, and it doesn't matter if this is not here anymore, it's still sending a signal forward because it's locked. So once you lock the signal in place, it doesn't matter if there's power going to the repeater. But that also means if the repeater's off and that's still powering the gate, you cannot send power over. So it's kind of a good way to make timers, really. So it really comes in handy in a lot of different ways if you're making like a 10 or 5 minute timer, because again, this works by seconds. So if you want to extend it by like 0.4 seconds, and you made a lot of those, like, and I'll even give an example here to show you that it does add time as you add more of these to it, and you can put these as far as you want. They don't go a certain amount of length, and the signals just go right into each other. So you saw that went really fast. Now let's put these all up to 4. And you see how slow that's going. Like, I can jump up and fly and the signal's still going away. See that again? Going really, really slow. A lot slower than it was before, obviously. And this is also good for TNT cannons, because they're always going to need that little bit of delay to shoot the TNT out. But we'll get into that in our TNT what do you call them? Series. TNT series. I'll be doing one of those. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you can see, I very much like my TNT cannons. Plenty of fun stuff going on over there. But that'll be in another series. This is Redstone only. I'm not mixing my Redstone and TNT just because this is for Barebone basics. That's for extreme destruction, I'll say. But anyway, back to these. Again, repeaters are one directional. This is the effects block, so the repeater affects that block. This is how you affect the repeater, or what affects the repeater, except for these exceptions, which is only from direct power and direct power from a repeater. So again, the repeater only exception affected. That's why I made it a separate block, because you can't just have any direct power go up to it. But that's basically the repeaters. I know, kind of complex, but it's not too hard once you get the idea. Now on to redstone lamps. Basically, we kind of used these a lot in the last episode. You have your off state and your on state. Kind of obvious. Redstone blocks, they only have one state. They don't turn off, they just stay on constantly. So there's not a off on to them. So that's kind of interesting how they're sort of mono circuitry, I guess you could say. Singular circuitry. But that also adds quite an interesting dynamic to these two. Basically, these are opposites. Basically, redstone block, it affects everything around it in this star shape, star slash cross, whatever you want to call it, but is not affected by any block around it. You can't affect this block in any way. You can't turn it off and on, like I said. It only ever affects blocks. But the redstone lamp is affected by a block in any direction, and it will always be affected by any power going to it in any of these spots, but it will not ever power anything, no matter what, unless it turns into an exception affected block like that. But that's not power coming from this, that's power coming from that. And it being a block, not a redstone device. So this is really kind of an opposite sort of thing, which some people don't know and they just use it however they feel like. But it's actually a really cool dynamic that they add to the game when they start changing up different things with Redstone. So I kind of appreciate that a little bit more than other people, I guess. I don't know. I just kind of like Redstone in that sort of way, how they add those opposites. But anyway, that's about it for this episode. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Have a nice day.